Injuries can alter the course of history forever.
I was going into an offseason where I don't have a contract. They're just looking for an excuse to put Phillip Rivers on the field.
Injuries are a part of sports, football in particular. But some of them are so significant that they altered the NFL history books forever. The Drew Bledsoe injury is perhaps the most significant instance of this, really, in any professional sport. Bledsoe was one of the most highly sought-after QBs of this time. The Patriots took him first overall out of Washington State University, and he jumped out to a great start in his career, earning 3 trips to the Pro Bowl, even leading the league in passing yards one year. Now, as crazy as it sounds, Tom Brady was hardly a blip on the radar in the greater Boston area amongst fans, the media, and even the coaches. But all of this changed in the blink of an eye during Week 2 of the 2001 NFL season. Bledsoe took a nasty hit from New York Jets linebacker Mo Lewis that caused internal damage and forced him out of the game. This opened the door for a little-known 6th-round pick to step in. And, as they say, the rest is history. The Pats rallied back from a 0-2 start to the season to finish 11-5. And they eventually won the Super Bowl with Brady at the helm, even though Bledsoe was medically cleared to return by Week 11. If Bledsoe doesn't go down, who knows when or even if Brady ever gets slotted into action. Could Bledsoe have kept Brady buried on the depth charts for the rest of the year? How does that change his career trajectory? Does Brady end up capturing 7 Lombardi trophies? Maybe that 0-1 Patriots team ends up winning the Super Bowl with Drew under center. Then what? The possibilities are endless. The irony of this is that the St. Louis Rams, who Brady and New England toppled in the Super Bowl that year, actually had their own version of this take place 2 years prior when Trent Green went down with an injury during the 1999 preseason. Heading into the year, Green was slated to be the starter. But that all changed when he took a below-the-knee hit from Chargers safety Rodney Harrison. At the time, most Rams fans were probably ready to write off the season. But little did they know, the injury to Green opened up the door for Kurt Warner, a little-known NFL Europe and Arena League football star, to step into the starting role. Warner went on to have one of the best single seasons a quarterback has ever had to date, throwing for 4,353 yards and 41 touchdowns, leading an offense that would go on to be known as the greatest show on turf. The domino effect from Green's injury ended up being massive. We've seen this happen after a quarterback goes down a couple of other times too, actually. There are 4 more major ones that come to mind. Dating back to the 80s, there was the Joe Theismann injury. After cutting his teeth in the CFL for 3 years to start his career, Theismann finally made it back to the NFL in 1974, and eventually earned the full-time starting role in Washington in 1978. Theismann improved steadily, and by the turn of the decade, he had become one of the better quarterbacks in the league, leading Washington to a Lombardi trophy in '82 and earning league MVP honors in 1983. But a mere couple of years later, all of that changed when Theismann went down with one of the most infamous and really downright disgusting NFL injuries ever captured on film. In the blink of an eye, Theismann's career was over, and Washington needed to look elsewhere for a quarterback. The team did well to rally over the next couple of years, eventually winning another Super Bowl in 1987 with Doug Williams under center. Peyton Manning's neck injury 30-some-odd years later created an equally interesting ripple effect. Before Manning missed the entirety of the 2011 season due to the aforementioned neck surgery, no one could have ever imagined Manning suiting up for an NFL game in anything other than a Colts uniform. But the injury set up a chain of events unlike anything anyone could have ever expected. The Colts had their worst season since 1998, Manning's rookie year. The last place finish teed them up to take Andrew Luck, who is widely considered to be a generational prospect, first overall. Peyton went on to play the last 4 years of his career with the Denver Broncos, 3 of which were absolutely phenomenal. And he led the Broncos to 2 Super Bowl appearances, winning 1, which ironically came in 2015, his final season. Back in Indy, Andrew Luck stepped right in, and the Colts lucked into one of the quicker rebuilds we have ever seen. The Colts went 11-5 in each of Luck's first 3 NFL seasons, and it looked like they were well on their way to another decade-plus run of prominence, until another quarterback injury changed NFL history. Andrew Luck's. In 2015, the injury bug caught up with Luck, and he missed over half of the team's games. He played, but pain and concern lingered the following year, and rumors started to swirl because despite putting up good numbers, he just didn't look the same. Probably because he was battling a lacerated kidney, a torn abdominal muscle, and chronic shoulder issues. Shortly after the completion of the season, Luck underwent surgery on his right shoulder, in the hopes that it would clear out some of the pain that had been plaguing him since he initially hurt it in 2015. He missed the entirety of the 2017 season, but most of the noise around him quieted in 2018 when he returned to form, leading the Colts back to the postseason and posting career highs in completion percentage and quarterback rating. Luck, however, had other plans and shocked the world just ahead of the 2019 season when he announced his retirement, once again setting a massive chain of events into action. In the time since, Indy has had a bit of a revolving door at the quarterback position, first slotting in Jacoby Brissett before beginning a run of veteran roulette, trying their luck with the likes of Phillip Rivers in 2020, then Carson Wentz, and now, heading into the 2022 season, Matt Ryan. Speaking of Carson Wentz, his torn ACL, which he suffered in 2017 as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, is the last but not least of our history book-altering quarterback injuries. Wentz was frontrunner for NFL MVP all year, and his Eagles were atop the NFC East, and really the NFL most of the year. But after Wentz tore his ACL in what was an otherwise stellar Week 14 performance against the Los Angeles Rams, most everyone wrote Philly off as a true Super Bowl contender. The Eagles, however, never lost faith and rallied behind backup quarterback Nick Foles, who delivered a number of clutch performances down the stretch of the season, through the playoffs, and, most importantly, in the Super Bowl, where he miraculously outdueled Tom Brady in one of the most shocking Super Bowl victories we have ever seen. This put Wentz in a very strange spot in Philadelphia, with a number of the team's fans favoring Foles heading into the next year. That number grew as Wentz's performance became more and more inconsistent. Knowing the Carson Wentz we all know now, it is a rather big question if the Eagles would have even been able to complete that Super Bowl run with him under center. Wentz's injury actually stirred up a few other what-ifs that we will never really know the answers to. Would Philly have won? What would the rest of Wentz's career have looked like? Because he hasn't been the same quarterback since. Assuming Brady in New England won, how does that change the GOAT story? Maybe he stays a Patriot, or maybe he leaves even sooner. Who knows? Carson Wentz isn't the only Eagle to have had an injury like this either. Think back to the Eagles' last Super Bowl appearance before 2017. That was in 2004 when Terrell Owens hobbled out there on a still damaged leg, which he had fractured just 2 months prior when Cowboy safety Roy Williams took him down with a horse collar tackle. Owens still absolutely balled in that Super Bowl, somehow hauling in 9 catches for 122 yards despite being visibly hobbled in his first appearance since the injury. But who knows, maybe if he's fully healthy, it takes his performance to an even higher level and Philly actually wins. Maybe a victory in that game helped smooth over the rift in the relationship between him and quarterback Donovan McNabb, and the entire offseason drama that took place with him famously doing sit-ups in his driveway while awaiting a new contract never happens. And thus, that 2005 campaign wouldn't have been such a mess, and Philly wouldn't have been all but forced to release Owens the following offseason. Not to mention the fact that his injury literally helped change the NFL rulebooks, as the NFL outlawed horse collar tackles the following offseason. Now, Owens isn't the only non-quarterback to change NFL history with an injury, though. To me, there are 3 huge ones that undoubtedly changed the record books: Bo Jackson, Sterling Sharpe, and Todd Gurley. Before the slew of leg injuries that ultimately ended Gurley's career early, he was one of the most exciting and borderline unstoppable players in the league. The former 10th overall pick was electric from the moment he stepped on an NFL field, winning Rookie of the Year honors in 2015. And he was a linchpin in those mid-2010s Rams offenses, especially once Sean McVay stepped in and helped open up the offense. Unfortunately, his arthritic knee greatly limited his usage during the last couple years of his career, including during the most important game of his entire career, Super Bowl 53, when his high-powered Rams offense scored just 3 points, in part because Gurley managed just 35 yards on 10 carries as a result of the knee. The implications of this injury cannot be overstated. Imagine he and the Rams were able to put up a better fight against New England, which scored just 13 points. Maybe Gurley would have slid a ring right off of Brady's finger. And, just like with Wentz's injury, who knows how a healthy Gurley might have changed the trajectory of the GOAT's twilight years. Not to mention that if Gurley could have stayed healthy and continued performing the way he did to start his career, we might now be talking about him as one of the best to ever play the position. This is actually eerily reminiscent of what played out with Jackson and Sharp. These are two guys that were transcendent in their positions. In his prime, Bo Jackson was a seemingly inhuman combination of speed, power, and agility. I mean, his ability to take a pile of would-be tacklers with him downfield, coupled with the afterburner speed he had once he hit the open field, was absolutely unrivaled. Who knows what he could have accomplished in his career had he never dislocated his hip, when Bengals linebacker Kevin Walker dragged him down on the sideline, ending his NFL career. Sharp, on the other hand, suffered a devastating neck injury during the 1994 season that forced him to retire in his prime at the age of 29. Think about this. During his 8-year career, Sharp caught 595 passes for 8,134 yards and 65 touchdowns. And at the time of his retirement, only 3 NFL players had averaged more receiving yards per game. With Brett Favre slinging him the ball, Sharp was well on his way to a Hall of Fame career. But sadly, that all changed when a series of collisions resulted in what was termed an abnormal loosening of the first and second cervical vertebrae. Seriously, who knows what his career could have been like? Or what those already great Packers teams might have accomplished. But which injury do you think changed the NFL history books the most? Join us in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.